Hi, my name is Neil Thrussell,
And hello, my name is Jamie Adamchuk.
and together we're here with the 4Ds of Success. And our guest is Robert Clancy, best-selling author, spiritual teacher, and fifth degree black belt master. So welcome, Robert Clancy.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's a true pleasure.
So I'm really excited because I had a vision in April. I think it was in April, and I couldn't contain myself. And so I said, I don't remember whether I emailed or we texted Jamie, and I said, Jamie, I've got this great idea. And from there, we birthed the 4Ds of success. And the 4Ds are desire. What's the next one, Jamie?
Determination
Dedication.
and discipline.
So of those 4Ds, what one sort of resonates with you? Like we've all had, well, let's back this up. Have you always been successful in everything you've done, right from birth?
Well, probably not. So, but when I employ a lot of these, what you're talking about in the 4Ds, yes, when I definitely bring those into the fold, and yeah, success is part of failing and learning from that. So there's a learning component that always happens in anything that I've ever taken on. And yeah, I haven't always been successful, but the one thing, the word that resonated with me was dedication, because whatever I start, I finish. And that's the most important part. It's no matter how it comes out, you can't just leave it on the table and walk away from something. You need to follow through. If you had that vision, you started it, you need to finish it.
But sometimes life gives you problems and obstacles. So for you personally, so you've been a martial artist. There's probably days that you don't want to go to the dojo. How do you be past that and beyond that?
Well, the only days that I really enjoy teaching. It's one of the best ways to learn. But yeah, there's days when you're really tired or burnt out. But there's always here's the beauty of it. You rely on those around you. I've got great students, and I can learn as much from a white belt as I can from a ninth degree black belt master. So in the last week, I actually did something interesting. I took the lower belt students and I said, so-and-so is going to come up. I said, Joe, you're going to be leading our warm-up today. And, this one's going to be leading our two techniques that we're going to be working on. And they just kind of were like, wait a minute. What? And I said, you will learn more by teaching than you will by listening to me. So come on up and do these things. And they took on that challenge. And if you're tired, that's a perfect way to kind of pull back a little bit, let them step up. And they're going to be the ones that are going to be leading and teaching the others, because that's the whole point of martial arts. And that's the way business works too. And that's the beauty of it. It's really how all those pieces fit together.
Cool. So, Robert, you've got if most people when they read your bio, you've got a very eclectic mix of skills, talents. How does one go from a best-selling author, a reverend, a martial artist, and a highly successful entrepreneur? There has to be how did you balance it all out?
It's and that's the word. It is balance, and I talk about that in the martial arts class, because everything we have is you want to disrupt the balance of the opponent, which could be the challenge that you're facing, and then you want to bring that balance in. And one of the epiphanies that one of my students had in class is he said, "I just realized that the earth is a tool that we use, like the ground, being grounded, and." Yeah. Having that and trust and being able to rely on others. And one of the biggest things is, especially in my team, you can't micromanage everything. You need to be there to lead, set the directive, and then you need to put out there what's called trust. And I trust my teams that they're going to follow through. And yeah, maybe they're not going to do it exactly the way I would have. Maybe there's going to be some flaws in there. Maybe it's going to be better than what I thought of. And that's the surprise that happens when I rely on them to do that. And I have a lot of great people around me. I have a wonderful wife and business partner, so we work together. and we divide and conquer. So I can't be at every meeting or I can't be at every event, but when we can be together, it's an amazing thing. And when we can divide and conquer and do that. So all of those pieces are coming into play in anything that I do. And yeah, I've got a lot of stuff. I also edit video. I've got music background. I was in lead guitarist of a band. I just want to enjoy life. That's the biggest thing. I want to experience everything. So I just grab something and I go to the nth level when I do. So it wasn't enough when I took on martial arts to just get a 5th degree in combat Hapkido. I got a 4th degree in Taekwondo at the same time because I wanted it all.
And isn't that great how much that ties in with that dedication to learn, to grow, to expand on what you have? I'm wondering if you'd share with us, reflecting on the 4Ds, maybe an experience in your life where you've applied these, if not 1, 2, 3, and got that great outcome that you were looking for.
Yeah, that was writing, because I hated English class and I have 4 books. So go figure. When I took on that challenge, and it was I had a good friend of mine say, you should write a book. You have these great stories. I said, I'm not an author. And I realized I was limiting myself right then and there as soon as I said that. So an author is somebody that writes, and I know I can put pen to paper. I can type some things in. And I looked at it this way. Jackson Pollock splattered paint on a canvas, and he's an amazing artist. If I can splatter some words on a page and do the same thing, don't get hung up in the details. That's the biggest part of it. When I approach writing the book, you can sit there and say, oh my God, I've got to make this absolutely perfect. I have to have every word. I have to have all the grammar perfect. Every comma has to be in place. And I don't know how to do that. And that's what's going to limit me from doing this. And I didn't let that stop me. I said, I will hire somebody that can go and proof this thing and make it right. I know grammar's not married to grandpa. That's about my extent of language. But, somebody else came in, and it's practice. That is the other piece that I learned. So if I go back and read my first book to what I'm writing now, I've improved. And think about this. And I tell my students in the martial arts class, I talk to my staff in my marketing firm, and everybody, when you start, I ask you, are you a good swimmer? They say, yeah, I'm a great swimmer. And I'll say, why aren't you in the Olympics? And why don't you have gold medals if you're a good swimmer? What separates that swimmer from you? They dedicated themselves, the D. They had determination. Yeah, they may have had natural ability, but they put that into play, and it takes practice. And they practice, and how many times, what do they have to give up? They have to sacrifice things to do this. And they will dedicate themselves to bringing that to the table. So when you start playing guitar, you're not going to be up on stage, with a rock concert yet, unless you were born like a child prodigy, which would be great. But if you're not, you're going to practice scales, and then you're going to get faster, and then you're going to play other people's music. And that's like martial arts. You learn the techniques, and then you start writing your own. And when you can get to that point, that's where those 4Ds play a role in everything that we do. It's that practice, it's the determination, and it's moving forward with that vision that you have, and you will get there.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the 4Ds is desire. Can you share us a story and a lesson from when you used your book that your friend gave you the opportunity to write, and that's good. But what did you wake up one day and just wanted to do something so badly you could taste it?
Yeah, it was actually, this book led to that. It was way back. I saw myself speaking in front of groups, and I wanted to inspire youth. I volunteered with Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership. This is my 29th consecutive year.
So you must have done this at birth, because you still look that old.
Yeah, people say that. Yeah, I did start. I was 5 when I started.
Yeah.
I'm aging like fine wine, very slowly, and I stay open, and I'm allowed to breathe. Those are the 3 keys to staying on that path. But believe it or not, it is my 29th year volunteering with this wonderful, outstanding organization, and seeing that vision and going through, what it brings to the table and the desire to make that difference. And when I had the desire to get up and speak, I kept visualizing myself on the stage. I'm supposed to be in front of them. I'm supposed to be delivering the message. And the last 5 years, I've been the closing keynote speaker in front of like 1,000 of these students, inspiring them to go out and do great in the world. And you see that desire, it's in you. And there's a career and there's a calling. And when you can bring both of those together in harmony, it just makes like this amazing fireworks display in your life. And that's really the desire part of seeing that. And every day, I'll just give you one other piece of it. When I had to go and put my hand through 4 concrete pavers that they went and bought at the, they're just normal paving stones. They're not like special breakable bricks. They're made out of concrete. It's like stones in it and stuff. I had to visualize that break for an entire year.
Wow.
I visualized it every day, my hand going through. And when I was standing there in front of it and looking down at it, I knew what I had to do. And I was, either my hand's going to bounce off of this thing or I'm going to put it through it. And incidentally, that day was the night my mother passed away. And I knew she was close to death. And my dad said, "You've worked so hard for this. Go and do this and come back." And that takes that real, dedication, your focus, your discipline. And the discipline came into play there because I had to stay so focused during that test to be able to break those bricks, knowing I'm going to go into and transition my mother later that day.
Yes. Beautiful story. Thank you. And it's fun. Like we can all, after the events, we can all relate to them calmly and perfectly. How do you stay focused in the storm of life?
Yeah, it's like being in the eye of a hurricane all the time, and you just try to stay in that eye, and that's where you keep your focus. And yeah, you can get sucked into the and where's the worst part of it? The storm when you're in a hurricane. It's right next to the eye, right?
Yeah.
Think about it, the metaphor that happens there. But if you can bring yourself into that calmness, and some of it is just taking a breather, stepping out. If you get stuck, I walk away from the computer. If I'm a programmer too, so I write applications, and I'm like total logic on that side. And it's giving yourself that moment of peace. And when you can bring that peace into the formula, and it's almost like little mini meditations. Go outside and walk, look at something, take a breather, come back. And sometimes you got to think on it overnight, and don't keep. I call it the bloody fuzzy mess. So the bloody fuzzy mess is if you take a rabbit and put it in a cage, and the door is always on one side of the cage, and the rabbit can come out, and you put the food on the other side of that door. It's trained to go out that door, right? But when you turn the cage around and put the food there, it's going to keep ramming its head against that because it doesn't realize the door is on the other side now. And it becomes the bloody fuzzy mess. So sometimes when life closes a door in your face, you need to look for the open window to let the light in so that you can spread your wings and fly through it. So it's another way of leaving. You might not go out on your legs. You might have to use your wings.
Yes. Thank you. So how do you stay focused in your life? Like you personally, what is it? Because you're writing books, programming, martial arts, volunteering. You have your own children. You're having other children come live in your house. You're trying to be a happily married man. You're volunteering. How do you stay focused? Because I'm here, some of our viewers are going to go, well, how do you do all this? Doubt, all of this. Oh, it's good for Robert, but how do you stay focused? What are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, well, in it is the answer is actually staying focused on something and understanding that you do parts of it. And then I use, you have your hands and eyes. So you let others become your hands and eyes. If, you can hand off pieces and have them take a slice of something when you need help. It's one of the keys is asking for help when you do need it. And it's determining the right people to help with that. And the other part is just really pulling everything together that you have. I look at it this way. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, they all had the same number of hours in the day that I do.
That's right.
Mother Teresa, still the same number of hours in the day.
Yeah.
I still get 8 hours of sleep every night, and I still get all this done. So there's time, and it's not wasting your time. There's times when I need to decompress and retreat to the ivory tower and take a day off. That's great. There's other times when I could sit there and be lazy and watch TV for 7 hours or the entire weekend, or I could be doing little slices of pieces of things. I look at it like you're climbing stairs, and I know when I get to the plateau, okay, that piece is set. Now I can go to this staircase and start climbing that little, and you whittle it down. And if you move forward each day, and it was a really good friend of mine who's a great writer, and she said, if you have writer's block, don't try to write don't try to write a chapter, try to write a paragraph. If you can't write a paragraph, write a sentence. If you can't write a sentence, just jot an idea down. Those are little catalysts that keep you going, and that's the key part of it. And that's how I maintain the focus is looking at what I can whittle down each of these pieces that I have to do.
So it's by focusing on the little tasks at hand, it stops the overwhelm.
Correct. And
Okay.
that's the big blocker, is being overwhelmed. If I told you today you have to write a 30,000 word or 38,000 or 48,000, which is my current book, 48,000 word book, you would look at me and say, I know. What am I have nothing to say. But if I broke it down this way, let's say if I told you how to do a 21-day workshop, right? 21-day workshop. So each day you got to come up with a different course that lasts for an hour.
Yep.
It's 21 hours of stuff, recordings, workbooks, things like that. You're going to get overwhelmed. And then you're going to say, well, what am I going to say for 21 days? What if I said you just break that down to 7 main categories that have 3 focus points in each? Now it doesn't sound so overwhelming. Now you just got to do 7 things.
Yes.
And then each day you can say, well, I can bang out one of those things on one of the 7s today, and then I'll have 3. Maybe I'll just do 3, and then I got one day done. And pretty soon you've got the whole thing done. So when you break it down by the numbers, by the math, you can, it's just like when they say, it could cost you $10,000 or whatever it is. But if you broke it down to over the next 5 years, it's only $1.38 a day. You could set aside $1.38 over the next X number of years to save up for whatever that was. So break it down into the smaller pieces.
And that's some amazing wisdom there with really that chunking it down, breaking it down, getting into that manageable bite size. I mean, what's the saying about the elephant? You can't eat an elephant in one bite. You take many, many small bites, focus on one bite at a time. Right. And that's really the message that we're getting from you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's how it works. It's just how I see it. I don't think about it till you guys ask me the question. It's just how I'm just saying, oh, well, yeah, that's kind of what I do. So it works out.
Thank you. So success, in your view, how would you define success? Because I believe all 3 of us here have a different version of success, but we all may have similar components to it. What is your definition of success?
Well, they say, one of my quotes that I've written, or one of my philosophies, my personal philosophy is I visualize things. So I see everything almost like a metaphor, and I see a great leader on top of a mountain looking back upon challenges that they've had. And those are great leaders because they got there. But often the greatest leaders are those who were still at the bottom of that mountain helping others get to that summit. And that's the definition of success. If you can bring other people up to your vision, maybe you're not going to be standing on top of that mountain, but if you can put somebody up there, then you've succeeded. And that's really, it's sort of my life goal of pulling other people up. If you can get somebody else out of the ground. And I look at perspective as one of the key things. And that's why that mountain is so important to me, because if you were in a hole in the ground, and that we'll call that rock bottom, and your feet are there, There's two things at rock bottom: your feet on the ground, and if you look up, and that's the metaphor, looking up is the way out. When you're at the base of that hole and you're looking in it, you can avoid going into it, but now you're stuck in the valley and you can't see where you are, and there's all these trees around you. And it seems overwhelming. And where are you going to go? What's your direction? You need to blaze your trail. That's life. You cut your way through that trail, and we're all supposed to blaze our own trail. And when you get to the top of that mountain, or you can put somebody there, they get to see how beautiful the view is. And then that valley looks amazing when you're at the top of a mountain and it's not overwhelming. So that's the journey. And I strive to be on that direction, blazing my trail, through this forest of life. And then I want to get to the top of that mountain to look back on it. And that is your legacy. And that's why we're here. There are people that are still helping people who have been dead for hundreds and even thousands of years. And how are they doing that? They left a legacy. That's your family. That's your work. That's your some way to turn the stone to make a brighter patch out there and make some kind of light in this world that you leave behind. And that's the key. That's why we're here.
I love the legacy part, because when you think about it, half the memes, you go to Facebook and half the memes are from people that have already predeceased us. Plato, all of these people, they've been dead for hundreds of years, but yet we still find solace in their powerful, powerful words. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Jamie, got anything to add into this?
I really loved your analogy of being down in that cave and looking up. And isn't that what it's really all about, is constantly looking up? We can get stuck in that mire. We can always be looking down. And isn't that the recipe, or a certain part of the recipe for success? I mean, look at that physiology behind it, looking down. What happens when you change that? Simply by changing that physiology in your body to be able to look up, it changes everything. Keeping that in mind, making that the focus, which is what you have. One of the other beautiful things that you shared was choices. In your life, so many things going on. Neil mentioned, I think 7, 8, 9, 10 things that you've got going on. Really, it's about a quality system of making quality choices. And I love that. I mean, that in itself is an outstanding, amazing recipe for success.
Yeah. And there's another little component that I put in there, and it's one that you probably experienced yourself. When you go to this wonderful vacation spot, or you had this amazing dinner at this restaurant and you can't wait to go back there, and the next time it's just not the same.
Yeah.
And you're kind of let down a little bit because you built this up now, like, oh my God. So have no expectations.
Yes.
When you have no expectations, you have limitless possibility, because it's going to evolve and be something different. And that's the beauty of it, that, you can't go back and do this. There's a steak place in Texas. I'll never go back there and eat again, because it was the greatest steak I've ever had. And I'm never going back. But live, you need to live for the now and not what was. You need to move forward. And when you look forward and you live now, you have your vision is going to carry you. That's your GPS point. And just like in the car and the GPS, you may get off track, but eventually you get back on that same path, even if you have to be routed around construction or something like that. And that's the way life is. And there are these amazing people on this GPS route. I call they're your soul hitchers. Those are people that you randomly encounter, and they might set you in a different direction or guide you back to that road that you're supposed to be on. And when you have these little mini soul hitch experiences where they carry you forward, and I look for those people out there, and they're definitely there. You guys we're having a soul hitch right now, so this is all part of it.
Yes, thank you. So you've got your book with you. Can you just lift it up?
Sure.
And give us a few seconds of what this book is about?
All right. Well, this is the book. It's called Soul Ciphers, Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness. And it is a 3 to 5 year project I've been working on. And it just feels good right now to not have to think about the stories, because I literally, each chapter, it was months of just thinking about how to structure the chapter, and then I would write it and put it out. But It's combining both my programming side, my technical, with my spiritual, and which are equally adept. And I put those together in soul ciphers and decoding, because I realized when you can solve the code within yourself, you can decode and become happy. And my first book, which was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul, has all these inspirational stories. I have an opener, kind of sets up the story, and then I tell this inspirational story. I had so many people over the last, 5-7 years coming up to me saying, I read that book. I'm so inspired. It was amazing. How do I do what you did?
Yes.
And they didn't make the leap. So I put these decodes in, which are my little daily practices and things that I do in my daily life, or your little takeaway or something that you can apply as a practical. And one of them that I just talked about was in the story No Limits, which is not having expectations. Another decode is, do you smile when you're alone? And how many people don't think about that and bring it to your conscious? Is it something you do? Because it's something I do. And I started thinking about all the things that I do in my life that get me to put my feet on the ground, to put a smile on my face, to get through the stressful periods. And everybody thinks I have a perfect life and everything's all, wonderful. We all are going through something, and I'm facing those same challenges. It's your perspective on how you deal with those challenges that makes the difference.
And that's the beautiful little, I don't know if we were going to get to the fifth D, the little secret that we've been holding on to. There is a fifth D, and it's your inner dojo. It is looking after self. And you brought that in there so well. So thank you. So the fifth D, for those that is the dojo, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your well-being, and ensuring you look after all aspects of your wholeness, your oneness. Am I missing something, Jamie?
No, I really want to add something to that, though. I'm sure we've all been on a plane, and they all go through the safety message in the beginning. And when that little mask drops down, who do you put the mask on first? You put it on yourself. And why is that? Because you need to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. And that's absolutely beautiful. That dojo, it brings that all together. It's that same message. We hear it over and over and over. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who are you going to be able to help? Who are you going to be able to help ascend that mountain?
Right.
Take care of yourself, and it all comes together.
Yeah, and you got to trust, I know my body. I know when I feel fatigued, and if you just keep pushing it, burning, what my parents used to tell me, you're burning the candle at both ends or you burn out. So when I feel that, I just say, hey, I got to step back. You guys got to step up. I'm going to need a couple days to recharge. And then I get back in the saddle and everything's good. And I can go good long way like that. And you keep going. But yeah, you definitely have to take those breaks, and whatever that is for you. If you have to meditate, if you have to get in the hot tub for a while and just chill, or whatever your thing is that you do to relax and bring that inner peace to yourself is really the key.
Sweet. Thank you. So most people, let me ask you, what does the word discipline mean to you?
Well, my dad was in World War II. He was actually in the D-Day invasion. So I grew up in a military family, as well as my mother was a hairstylist. And the discipline was that, we weren't treated under military rule in my house, but it was that you have respect for yourself, for others, that you stand up for what you believe in, that you don't let somebody walk over you. And so I kind of grew up in that, and all those pieces. My dad, he had liberated a concentration camp, and he joined in when he was 17 years old, in World War II. I mean, amazing journey he had, and I know that affected him for his whole life. So discipline was really my dad's side of, you got to get up and you need to provide for your family. You need to be out there and you need to work, and you need to work as a team. And, my mother worked to provide as well, because she ran a beauty salon. And so that's where I got the entrepreneurship thing and the discipline and all those pieces. So it came from there. So it's really a personal thing to me of what discipline means. And it means that, you stand up for what you're going to do and you finish it, and you whatever that takes, because that's what he had to do when he was that young.
Thank you. So anybody have anything that they just need to share? I'm feeling that we've probably circled the wagons a few times, and I'm feeling that we've come to an end. Jamie, you want to add something in here?
Yeah, just, Robert, thank you so much for taking this time to share this with us, to share your inspiration and really show people what's possible. I mean, we all came from the same place, and to be able to take that and manifest that success, whatever the success is for each of us, but to manifest it, to put it together, to take that secret recipe, not so secret recipe, of those 4 Ds and bring it to fruition, looking at the desire, the determination, the dedication, and that discipline, putting those together, making success for yourself. It's great to see you share that with us, to give your insights and to see your own personal journey. So thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you so much for having me on to share. I hope this makes at least, if I touch one person out there, then I did my job. So, and you guys have touched my soul. So, this is great, and it's a true pleasure to be on and kick this off, and let's get this out in the universe.
Yes. So thank you, my friend, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. So thank you both.
All right.
Awesome.
Namaste. So.
Namaste.